Your mistakes does not define you. I think a lot of times the truth is we feel like because I failed so many times, because I've made this certain amount of mistakes so many times, that's who I am. I think once you realize that's not who I am, that's what I've done. And learn to say, you know what, I made a mistake 100 times. That's not who I am today. Learn from your mistakes so you can help somebody else.
Remembering that you are capable because you have made it thus far. Even when you come across something, when you're faced with something and you don't know how you're going to get through it, you've been in this position before where you're like, I don't know how I'm going to get through it, but you've gotten through it. And so just trust that pattern that you have that has gotten you to this point. It will keep you going further.
Welcome to the Empress Lioness, a sacred space where the spirit roars and the soul remembers everything. In each episode, we sit with visionaries, founders, creators, and healers. I'm your host, Karen Mitchell. Women are not confused. They are afraid of what they already know. This is the Empress Lioness Throne Room, a space for truth. Isn't about religion or business. It's about listening to faith, to intuition, to the voice we keep negotiating with. Because healing doesn't begin when answers arrive. It begins when we trust the voice that's been speaking all along. Mm-hmm. Today, I am honored to sit here at the round room with my guest, Octavia Floyd, a purpose-driven woman of faith who turned personal pain into purpose. She is the creator and author of Toxicity to Thriving, a healing workbook designed to help women move from emotional and spiritual struggle into wholeness and worthiness. Her journey is grounded in prayer, self-reflection, and courageous healing, and that lived experience now fuels her calling to uplift others. Octavia, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for joining.
Next, I have another guest, Miss Cynthia Lee, and she's a bold visionary entrepreneur and the founder behind Tree, an early stage, first of its kind, multi-passion marketplace helping people turn everyday skills and talents into thriving businesses. Her work is rooted in helping people recognize creativity, resourcefulness, and individuality as powerful assets, not afterthoughts. Thank you for joining us today, Cynthia.
Yes, of course. Thank you for having me, Karen. I'm excited to join both of you ladies.
Well, we are so happy to have you both here. Let me start with this question. What is the number one truth women know but are afraid to say out loud, even to themselves? Octavia, I'm going to let you go first.
I think most women are afraid to admit that they're tired and unhappy because we tried to keep this external that we're strong and that we have to be independent and to let down our guard and be vulnerable and truly be feminine women. I can speak for myself when I say that because, as women, we're struggling bills and children and we don't live in our soft good era. And we become this masculine without even recognizing. We attract masculine energy because we're full of it, because we had to be that strong person. So I think a lot of women are afraid to admit that they're tired, that they're really struggling and that they're not truly fulfilled and happy. Yeah, that's what I can say.
Yeah,
That I feel
no,
like
you're
most women
absolutely right
struggle
about
with.
that. A lot of us are tired and we hate to say we're tired. We just keep pushing, hustling,
Yeah.
moving, going, doing everything. Kind of like octopus, right?
Yeah.
So, Cynthia, what do you think?
I would kind of piggyback off of what Octavia said. I agree. I can speak from personal experience that I have in the past tended to, just because I can take it on, decide to take it on, because again, I just have that history, that pattern of being the strong one, of being that, solid foundation. And, often putting everyone before myself, because I feel like I can just take it on. And yeah, just keep on taking
Yeah.
it, keep on doing it, keep on hustling, and, you know, just not wanting to admit, like, yeah, I'm exhausted and I don't want to do anything. I just want to be left alone. And,
And we rarely say that, don't we? We really do. But doing that comes at a huge cost. So, what does staying silent protect women from? And what does it quietly cost them? I'm going to let you finish it up, Cynthia.
well, I think staying silent, keeps everyone comfortable. But we in turn just end up abandoning ourselves, neglecting ourselves. So, while we're burning out, we're making sure everyone else is good. But inside, we're just kind of screaming, inside, we're just kind of screaming for help, and we just kind of push that down,
Okay. Yeah.
So yeah.
And Octavia?
I have to agree with that one. I think when we don't want to be vulnerable because we're trying to protect ourselves. I think a lot of times we're trying to protect the hurt that we receive, and we don't want to receive that hurt again. So we put on this protective barrier to protect us. And in reality, going through the process, the healing process, being vulnerable with God actually opened up, and that's when the healing start happening. So I think a lot of times we just try to protect ourselves from getting hurt again, and
Okay.
we don't let people in a certain way.
So, Octavia, what are women in faith spaces afraid to admit because it sounds unholy or disloyal or ungrateful to God?
That they're upset with him. I was so afraid to tell God I was mad at you. And for
Hmm.
years, I kept it to myself because I'm like, I can't say that. I can't tell God I'm mad at him, you know, because that's wrong, right? But in all reality, he knows anyway. He knows I've been
Hmm.
upset with him because I'm like, certain things should have happened by now, God. This wouldn't have happened if you'd have gave me this. And so I had that upset with God. And so for years, I just kept it to myself. I didn't say it out loud.
Yeah.
But and then I got to a place that said, you know what? I want to get healed. And I gotta let God know. He knows anyway. God,
Yeah.
I've been upset with you for years. Because I
Hmm.
felt if you would have gave me the desires of my heart, a lot of these mistakes would have not happened. But I had to
Hmm.
realize those mistakes was for my good because it helped someone else. So in
Yeah.
all reality, being telling God you're upset with him. And if you really are, let him know he knows anyway.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So I think we are afraid to say that and be open and vulnerable with that.
And
When
they
we're
teach
told
us
you
that
can't say that. I'm sorry.
exactly. They teach us that you don't want to, you can't get mad at God, you can't
Uh-huh.
question God, and
Yeah.
just like you, I did it for so long. Matter of fact,
Hmm.
I think the reason, if I'm being honest, the reason I'm married right now today is because I got mad at God. I
Hmm.
got so tired of waiting on God to give me a
Uh-huh.
man year after year. I thought I was doing everything the way I was supposed to, but yet
Uh-huh.
I still didn't have a husband. And then I watch other women in the church that have not been married and are
Yeah.
celibate for 15 years. That really irritated me.
Hmm.
It
Yeah.
really did. But it made me realize this one thing. See, getting mad at God was not what it was. I got mad at myself.
Hmm.
Because I think for a lot of us, we're expecting God to just work a miracle like right there. We don't want to put in the work. We're not putting in the work. And the work is, guess what? It's us. We're the work.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's
Uh-huh.
and that's one of the things that they teach you, just like let go and let God, and putting in that action is so vital. It's so important for us to put in that work. But, to have this passive bypassing, doesn't serve us well, because it doesn't really allow us to tap into our own true power to make things happen, as the co-creators. We just
Yeah.
uh, you know,
Uh-huh.
wait for it to happen, kind of.
Uh-huh.
So I think what people tend to forget is that God is in here.
Yeah.
And we tend to forget that, right? We operate, He made us in His image. That's what the Bible says. And
Uh-huh.
we should operate like Him, right?
Hmm.
Well, He's in here. I mean, I don't know about you ladies, but ever since I tapped into that energy and that knowing, like things started to shift for me. And right now, I can tell you today, those same women that I was in church with from 2011 are still in the same position, or some of them even worse, because they're not doing the inner work. They're just sitting
Yeah.
and waiting, and year after year, they think God is going to send them a husband.
Hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
But now, when does prayer become a hiding place instead of a healing place?
Yeah. That's what I mean to say. I feel like, I feel like that just really outsources your power. You know what I mean? You're really externalizing it instead of going inward and recognizing the power that you have within yourself to make something happen,
Yeah.
because we are, the co-creators. We do create our own reality, so we can make things happen. But if you're continuously being like, God will do it, God will take care of it, God will, you know what I mean? You're not actually tapping into that power yourselves and seeing the power that you have and also the ways in which you are blocking yourself, those ways
Yeah.
that you are self-sabotaging without even knowing. You have to do it's the good and the bad. You have to go in and discover those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not to say that you don't believe in God, you don't believe in the power of God. That's not to say that. I believe that God is the universe as well. I mean, he's neither man or woman, right?
Everything. Yep.
He's something, it's something greater than we are. And I
Yep.
think if we tap into that energy,
Yep.
it's because I want to believe I have a relationship with God. I've had one for a very, very long time. And I used to be atheist, ladies. I never believed in God. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Well, because so many things happened in my life that was so
Yeah.
bad that
Yeah.
couldn't be a God. You know
Right.
what I mean? And a lot of
Mhm.
people think like that too. But it took a lot of things that happened during my life journey that only God could have known some of these things.
Mhm.
And then you
Uh-huh.
start forming a relationship with him.
Yeah.
Once you form a relationship with God, it gives you the power to activate that, which is
Mm-hmm.
God on the inside of you. And
Mm-hmm.
so
Yeah.
I started activating that. And
Mm.
here
Yep.
we are today.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So what do you think, Octavia? When does prayer become a hiding place instead of a healing place?
I think it comes hiding when you realize God is with you and for you. And it's a place where I'm just myself. I don't have to pretend that I'm okay. I can come God. Even
Mhm.
if I don't have the words to say, oh my God, you know me, speak through me. So I love the fact that I can hide in him and he protects me. And I could just be my vulnerable self. So that's when prayer becomes even more in depth, in my opinion, and you get more comfortable and you just let down your guard. And in that hiding place is where you rediscover who you truly are. I think in my hiding place with God, he showed me who I truly was. He showed me my calling. He showed me that I'm valuable and loved in a way I've never felt before. So when
Yeah.
you get to that place of your when you're your home and your hiding place, you just feel so relaxed, right? It's just a place of peace and
Yeah.
relaxation and not feeling like all eyes is on you, just you and God.
And when does the prayer become a hiding place instead of a healing place?
I think it could be both hiding and healing. I mean, that's where I
Yeah.
started my healing journey is with the healing with therapy and with hiding in God's arm and talking to God. I think the
Yeah.
more you speak to God, the more you pray, like you said, the power within you. Like there's things that you couldn't tell I'm going through because the strength God is pouring into me and to
Yeah.
pour into others. Like what you just said, I would never thought that I thought you believed in God your whole life, the way you're showing up. So God can use anybody and see how he transformed you. You don't look like what you've been through.
Yeah.
None of us do.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's a powerful thing that you just said. A lot of times we feel like there's no God because of what we're going through. No, there is a
Yeah.
God.
Yep.
And a lot of
Mhm.
times we're going through things. Sometimes we put ourselves there, we got to take
Mhm.
accountability at some point. But he's always been there, and
Yeah.
that's where, yeah,
And I think accountability comes with the healing process, right? And
Yeah.
Cynthia,
absolutely.
because I know you also do a lot of intuitive healing and stuff like that as well. I know you do meditation as well.
Yes.
So, why do women second guess themselves even when their intuition has already spoken clearly? Why do you think?
To me, well, I would say, intuition is very soft and it's very quiet. And, I think typically, especially in the day to day, we're used to like these blaring signs, right? Of like,
Yeah.
so we need
Mhm.
that direct yes, no, we need it loud and in our face. And intuition is very soft and quiet. And we've also been programmed to disconnect from that, right?
Yeah.
We've been told to second guess ourselves more so than to believe our that quiet nudges that we get. We're told to, you know what I mean? Is that, we're just told to like to doubt ourselves, to have low confidence. This is all of our a part of the plan, right? So we're
Yeah.
disconnected from that place. And so that's why it can be such a challenge, but it's so beautiful when you reconnect with that place, of not needing these blaring signs, but trusting yourself, going within and trusting those soft nudges. And because they're soft, but they're so impactful at the same time, right? There's this paradox
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
comes with it. But yeah, no, I think that, that's just the way that it's definitely been intentional, of course, to disconnect us from that place.
And what do you think, Octavia? Why do women second guess themselves even when their intuition has already spoken clearly? I mean, they do it in the church too, right? When you get a
Hmm.
Mhm.
prophecy. Yeah.
I think denial and not truly being confident within yourself. A lot of times we deny things that we know is true, but we don't want to accept reality. I think a lot of times we
Hmm.
want to just don't accept it, sugarcoat it. We want to ignore it because we don't want to face it.
Yeah.
And we don't have enough confidence in ourselves to really step into it. You know what? It's time. You know what I mean? You have to really be
Yeah.
I feel like when you
Yeah.
step into your pepper, you gotta be confident within yourself.
Hmm.
If you look for it in someone else, you're not
Hmm.
gonna you can't build your confidence hoping that someone give you validation. You have to know,
Hmm.
you have
Yeah.
to show
Hmm.
confidence.
Yeah.
That's right.
Um, so yeah, that's what I would say with that one. I don't wanna
Hmm.
go
No, you're
off the
absolutely
topic.
right. That plays a huge role. You know what I mean? Because if
Yeah.
you don't have the confidence, then
Hmm.
you're gonna be stuck. And I think that's where a lot of women are. They're stuck right now because they're not
Mm-hmm.
paying attention to the voice that's telling them, hey, hey, put the brake on that, go left, or keep
Yeah.
going straight, shut the noise out.
Yeah.
Because if we did that more, like I think we'd accomplish some great things as women if
Yes.
we learn to trust ourselves, trust our
Yeah.
intuition, and I'm even saying trust the God that that you talk about, trust that
Yes.
too. You can't just say it one way and then don't do it.
Yeah.
If you believe in something and you honestly give wholeheartedly in the dedication and the time the church especially does, why don't they practice what they're preaching? And I can
Yeah.
say that. I've been the armor bearer for my pastor. I've been in the prayer closet. I've seen it firsthand. But
Hmm.
it wasn't that no one had to tell me, right? I just paid attention. And I think we don't pay attention anymore. We don't see the
Yeah.
cycle that goes through, especially in the church, but even in society in a whole.
Hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I say church because the church has an obligation to the word of God. The church has an obligation to the people. And instead of showing the people how the power works and who has the power, they keep the power to themselves and
Hmm.
keep the congregation
Hmm.
enslaved in there, right? Because how many people the church is a healing place. That's number one. It's like a
Yeah.
hospital.
It is.
When you get out, you should be able to use those things. I did. So
Yeah.
I know it works. But a lot of them are still waiting on their husband because they're following
Hmm.
that same line. They're not thinking outside the box.
Hmm.
When I
Hmm.
saw it and I paid attention, I started thinking outside the box. And I
Hmm.
started putting God to the test. If this is real God, let me see this happen. Or it's okay
Mm-hmm.
to do that. I think when you're a babe in Christ, especially.
Yeah.
But do you think women are more afraid of failing or of being seen choosing themselves?
Mm.
I would say failing. I was a fear of failure, especially I think that triggers down to how was your upbringing, your childhood? Was you
Yeah.
ridiculed or was you talked about from failure?
Hmm.
Go and as an adult, if you don't get healed from that, you're gonna feel failure is the end of the world. Like I failed again.
Yeah.
Like I don't deserve. Like I'm a failure. You start self sabotaging yourself and not feeling best great for yourself. So I feel like fear of failure is like feel of failure is like a trigger for people and prevents people from actually going into what they really want to go to. They feel they're going to fail. Most
Yeah.
people would love, for example, love to start their own business, but they feel it's going to
Mhm.
fail because their mama said it was going to fail, or they've seen
Mhm.
examples around them
Mhm.
That's
that
true.
failed.
Mhm.
So failure, but when you realize, even if I'm not going to fail, even when I'm in a season right now, it's not perfect, but
Right?
that scripture reminds me that God is within her, she will not fail. So
Mhm.
when you feel like you're failing, I'm not going to fail. I mean, look, I'm seeing the doors God's opening up when I
Yeah.
say yes to his purpose. So
Mhm.
failure, get out of your head. If that's a
Mhm.
trauma, 'cause I know I grew up feeling failure because, again, I will be talked about if I did something wrong. Instead of
Yeah.
saying, God got you, it's okay, we'll work on it. People will talk about you and you would feel like, I can't do nothing wrong. I got to be perfect. That's
Yeah.
when the perfect mechanism comes in. So I feel like people struggle the most with failure, feeling they're going to fail. And that prevents them from actually stepping in to what they're supposed to be living, how they're supposed to live their life.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think, Cynthia?
Well, I think definitely both do keep people stuck, but I would agree with Octavia. I agree that failure just stops people from even like getting started, taking that first step, because often we just look at this entire staircase and just like, you know what I mean? There's no way that I can do all of this kind of thing, you know? And then it's like, so we already, because we are programmed to not have that confidence within ourselves. We have to get out of that. And then, of course, there's this whole staircase that develops. And there's these challenges, these mental hurdles that we have to come over again and again and again. Failure that, yes, that would freeze, that it's frozen me multiple times. If you don't have that resilience or that, taking that as a challenge to like burst through that wall, that's enough to scare anyone, because people are going to talk about you, people are going
Yeah.
to, but I feel like that failure is not necessarily a failure. It could just be that can just be like, you're supposed to pivot and go this way. And half of the time when you attempt something, you're doing more than your peers around you anyways. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
again, most of us are not willing to take that chance. And especially another thing is that for me, I didn't have any examples around me of anyone who actually has gone this far. So, thankfully, I've been, put in this, looked at this way my entire life, or I've been looked at like unconventional or weird and things like that,
Yeah.
for me it was like, well, shoot, I'll just lean all the way into that weirdness and just go go in
Yep.
on it, you know what I mean, go full force
Mhm.
on it, because there is that misconception that, if you do try something outside of this box, you're weird, you're crazy, you know what I mean? Because none of us have examples around us of people who've actually done that and have succeeded, and so we don't have, that's another reason why we just freeze up, because this is not a possibility. You know what I mean? I have my mom actually, as many steps, she's been with me this entire journey. When I was just doing, prior to starting this app, I was just doing vendor and events. I was just going out there every day for 2 summers, bringing all my things with me, making countless
Yeah.
trips to the car. And it was just me, just me. And I was so tired. And so she's seen me come from there to like building my app, and I'm actually making strides and I'm making my gains. And she's still scared. And I recognize it's just out of love,
Yeah.
because I have surpassed that glass ceiling in my mind. But, for her, that ceiling is still there. And so she's just like, just come down, baby. Like, I don't want you to, fall, so it's
Yeah.
out of love, but like, I'm gone now. You can't help
That's
me
right,
now.
girl. And keep going. Keep going.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Honestly, because failure was never in my vocabulary, even though I've seen a lot of people fail. But I think for me, I had a reason. I just couldn't fail. Like failure was
Yeah.
not an option for me. And when I
Yeah.
took the chance and built my business, a lot of people thought I was crazy. I thought I was
Yeah.
almost crazy. I was like, oh my God, I remember telling my husband, oh my God, they said I need to have a degree, or I have been in the industry for like 5 years. I said, I'm a project manager. I don't know anything
Yeah.
about healthcare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was so discouraged and I thought, oh, I'm not going to do it. I'm just going to leave it because I'm going to get in. It's going to fail. It's not going to work. They're going to deny me. But let me tell you, I didn't fail.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
I built that company from the ground up. And, it's
Yeah.
one of my greatest accomplishments in
Yes.
life as a
Mm.
woman. Not
Yes.
just a woman, but as a woman that didn't have a college degree, because all my life I heard people say, well, if you don't have a college degree, you can't do this, you can't do that. I did everything. I did everything. And not only did I do it, I blew a lot of them out of the water
Mm-hmm.
because failure was not an option. You see, I was a
Yes.
single mom with 3 kids. Failure is not an option
Yes.
for me.
Mhm.
Yes. Yes.
When you have that kind of motivation as a woman, I mean, real motivation,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
failure is not an option for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
And
I feel like
yeah, go ahead.
so we're so headstrong as Black women in general. You know what I mean? We're so headstrong. So when we put our mind to anything, we're going to figure out a way. That's just what
Yes,
it is. You know what I mean? So
yes,
you're taking that determination and that motivation and you're just fine tuning it to a specific area. And that's why I say, like, I know in my heart of hearts that I'm unstoppable because look at my life.
exactly.
I've been down countless times and I don't know how I
Yeah.
made it out. You know what I mean? So yes, I
Yes.
am unstoppable.
Yes,
Mhm.
you have to believe it. It doesn't care what anyone else thinks.
Yes.
Everybody thought, oh, what is Karen doing? Something again, blah, blah, blah.
Yes.
I
Oh my goodness.
knew
Mhm.
within me that I can do this and I was going to be
Yeah.
the best at it. And today I'm
Yes.
the best at it. I don't care.
Yes.
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 I'm the best at it. Well, we all have that power within us and you have
Mm-hmm.
to encourage yourself. You really
Yeah, you
do.
do.
I'm manifesting 2026 that my voice is going to reach the women that it needs to reach.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
I honestly
Absolutely.
believe that we need to understand as women in general that
Mhm.
anything we set our minds to do, we can do it.
Yes.
Mhm.
Lock the noise out.
Yes.
Concentrate on what it is that you need to do. Make yourself a plan. You don't got to follow it. Don't have to be perfect. One
Yes.
step in front of the other,
Exactly.
and
Yes.
you will succeed.
Mhm. Yeah, you
Yes.
will.
Speak it
Yes.
out of your mouth. The Bible even speaks
Yes.
about that.
Yes.
Speak
Mhm.
it as though it's already here. And let
Yes.
me tell you, when I learned those words in church, I've
Come
been
on.
speaking like, no, I'm going to have me a private jet. I'm not even kidding. I'm not kidding.
Ain't no limitations. It don't matter.
And your app is going to be the best app known to
Yes.
man.
Yes.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yes.
Octavia, I
I
hope you
know.
have pen to paper because
Yes.
now you need to tell the story behind that workbook that you have created.
Come on.
Now
Yes.
is the time. This is it. There's no more sitting around and waiting and waiting.
Yeah.
The
Mhm.
world is not going to wait. But you
Yes.
have women that need to hear the story behind the workbook.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Where's that story?
Yeah.
Cynthia, you have women waiting on you too.
Yeah.
There's no time for differences between religion or God and Jesus and intuition and the universe.
Yeah.
There's no time for that.
Yeah.
Whatever motivates you, whatever
Yeah.
pushes you, whatever makes you believe that you are what the creator intended you to be and
Yes.
you here for a purpose,
Yeah.
y'all better go get it.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes.
I'm
And
going to
that's
get it.
one thing I want to say too is
Excuse
that,
me.
not everyone is going to understand your vision either. You know what I
No.
mean?
Exactly.
Because this is between me and my, higher self. This is or me and my God. No one else. This is not meant for everyone else to hear. Y'all are just meant to see the results of it. You know what I mean? So people
I
are going to look
agree.
at you
Yeah.
and they're going to be like, well, this doesn't make any sense. It's not supposed to make sense to you because it's not your
Mhm.
journey. This is
There
for
you go.
me only, and you just get to bear witness of the
That's
results. So
right.
there you go.
That's true.
There
That's
you
true.
go.
No, that's very
That's
true.
what it is. Yeah. So how does a woman learn to trust her intuition again after years of ignoring it or being taught not to listen to it?
For me, asking God for discernment. So to increase my wisdom, increase my discernment. So I can just trust even when it doesn't make sense. Like she just said, there's a lot of things that I don't say and reveal because you're not going to understand. You're
Right.
just not. And like she said, at the appointed time, you're going to know.
Yeah.
Because right now, if I tell you what God said, you're like, "Yeah, right." You know what I mean? You're doubtful. You're not
Exactly.
gonna fully understand. And
Plant that seed
so
of doubt.
they're
Mhm.
going to, and I'm like, I'm at a season where I don't want to. I want to knock out the noise, the
Yes.
Yes.
unnecessary noise, and just keep my. I'm very confident now. I am very
Mhm. Mhm.
confident in myself, and I'm asking God to continuously give me the strength, the discernment, and the wisdom, so I can start making decisions not outside of your will, because
Right.
I don't want to get ahead of you, God. I'm like, I don't want to get ahead because
Yeah.
I know
Mhm.
Just flow with it.
everything's at a time. Yes. Um, Increasing my discernment, I would say. I hope that answered your question. I apologize.
It did. It
Mhm.
did.
Okay, okay.
What do you think, Cynthia? How does a woman learn to trust her intuition again after years of ignoring it?
I would say taking those little micro steps, and that confidence will come as you go along. It just kind of creates this bigger snowball of confidence, but just taking those little steps. You don't have to take this big leap. You get a nudge to do something, and you know what I mean? Just take a little small step towards it and see how it works out, kind of thing. You're just kind of dipping your toe in the
Mhm.
water, kind of thing.
All right, ladies. So, what truth do women need to hear about faith and intuition that might make them uncomfortable, but set them free?
Hmm.
For me, faith, I believe God for things that like I haven't seen yet. Like you mentioned before, I'm waiting.
Mhm.
I'm in a season of waiting for a husband. I am close to my 40s, and I had to let go of my timeline because the more I
Mhm.
kept saying it should have been this way, I should have been this way,
Mhm.
it caused so much anxiety and anxious thoughts and frustration. I don't want to be mad again with God because He already released it from me. So releasing the timeline,
Mhm.
thanking God for things that you haven't seen yet. I thank God, like you just say,
Mhm.
you having a private jet. I thank God for my $1 million home. I thank God
Mhm.
There
for
you
my
go.
health. I thank God for my
Mhm.
children.
Mhm.
When you start believing with God that you things that you haven't seen yet, you start increasing
Yep.
your faith even more.
Yep.
Yeah.
And just continuously, like, I know it's hard because we're human, we want to see things before we believe it, right?
Yeah.
But God
Yes.
said, no, you have to see it before you
Yes.
believe it.
Yes.
Like, and let go of your mindset of how your life should have been. That was my biggest challenge.
Yeah.
It would keep me up at night, like, I am close to this age, my daughter's 20, she should have had this, I should have had this. And I said, you know what, Octavia, if it release your timeline for God's purpose. And
Yeah.
once I really did that, it took a weight off of me. So now I don't live life where shoulda, coulda, woulda.
Mhm.
It's happening how it should happen,
Yes.
even when you fully don't understand that.
Yep. Yeah. And I would say similar to that, allowing things to not make sense was the biggest
Yeah.
thing for me, because I think of it like we're, down in, if you think of mountains, we're down in the valley, and Guy or your higher self is on top of the mountain. And so they can see the bigger picture, right? So we're just
Yeah.
down here, not knowing really what's going on, but following those steps, following those nudges, even if they don't really make sense,
Yeah.
because what I mean, it's not supposed to make sense right now. You just follow it kind of
Mhm.
blindly, you know what I mean? That's why you take those little micro steps to get your confidence going and things like
Yep.
that. But allow it to not make sense because you're not going to see until you're at a certain point and you can turn around and be like, oh, that's why this had to happen and that's why that had to
Mhm.
happen and all those things. You know what I mean? Just allow it. Just strap yourself in and go along for this ride.
That's it.
Mhm.
That's it. We on a journey called life, and you're
Yeah.
supposed to experience things on this
Yes.
journey called life. You know what I mean? But if a woman is watching this right now, knowing she's been negotiating with the truth she already knows, what do you want her to remember about herself? Either one of you ladies can go first.
Well, I think that I would say that remembering that you are capable because you have made it thus far. You have
Yeah.
been 100% thus far. You know what I mean? And recognizing that even when you come across something, when you're faced with something and you don't know how you're going to get through it, you've done that already. You know what I mean? You've been in this position before where you're like, I don't know how I'm going to get through it, but you've gotten through it. And so
Yeah.
just trust that pattern that you have that has gotten you to this point, it will keep you going further. You know what I mean? Just trust your resilience, trust your capacity to figure something out. and just allow that to, keep you moving forward.
Okay. Octavia?
I would say your mistakes does not define you. I think a lot of times the truth is we feel like because I failed so many times, because I've made the certain amount of mistakes so many times, that's who I am. I think once you realize that's not who I am, that's what I've done. And learn to like say, you know what, I made a mistake 100 times. That's not who I am today. And learn to be not okay with your mistake, but learn from your mistakes so you can help somebody else. I had to learn that in life, that your mistakes and your failures was all for your benefit, for your good, even though it doesn't make sense, because it's supposed to help someone else. So don't feel ashamed, don't feel guilty, and know that you still have a purpose, you still have a calling, that you're still loved, and that you're still valuable. I think a lot of times as women, we feel like we've been used up. We have so many kids out of wedlock. No man's gonna love us. We feel like this is it for us. That's not necessarily true. That's an enemy telling you that to make you believe that. But God has so much in store for you, and your mistakes is not who you are. It's what you've done.
Awesome. And Octavia, why don't you tell our guests how they can connect with you if they needed to or if they wanted to, and tell us a little bit about your book.
Correct. Yes, you can connect with me on TikTok, Octavia Joy. I am on Instagram, purpose_into_action. My workbook is titled Toxicity to Thrive, and where I'm giving you guys step by step how to literally break free from toxic mindsets into walking into your true calling, your identity, your purpose. I give you beautiful affirmations. I want you to speak over yourself. Words of affirmation. The more you speak it, the more you will transform and shift your mindset. I'm giving you biblical faith scriptures, my testimony, and how all of what I went through, my breakthrough, my healing to how I am today. It is on my website. Go to toxicitytothriving.com. You also can reach me there as well. And like I said, just follow those Instagram platforms. I do follow back. And if you have any questions, let me know. And if you want to give out my email, I could give my email out. Email address. It's ofloyd16.
Yeah. That's what we do here. We empower each other. So go
Okay.
get that book and wait for the book to come out. Get the workbook and wait for her to finish up that book to come out, Octavia, by the end of the year.
I am doing a second edition where we're going deeper. Yeah, we're going deeper. We're talking about mother wounds, father wounds. We're talking about pet. We're going deeper in the second edited edition.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. I didn't even know that. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
And Cynthia, can you let our guests know how they can reach you, how they can connect with you as well?
Yes, so you can follow Tree's social medias on TikTok and Instagram at an app named Tree. I also have a coming soon landing page that you can visit to find out more information about the app, and that is an app named tree.com. And my email, if you wanted to reach out to me directly, is info.goddessontheloose@gmail.com. And then I'll share a little bit about my app. So, Tree is a platform that allows users to come online and start building a business using their everyday skills, their talents, their creative outlets. It allows you to offer multiple services or products so you don't have to lock yourself into one niche. I found a really good way to describe it. It's kind of like Angie's List meets MySpace, and if those had a baby, because you can offer your services or products, but it also stands to really highlight the person behind the business as well, so that the people who are looking for you can find you, because I really want you to lean into your authenticity and bring that forward as well. So the app will have a lot of good like customization features, like persona categories. You can personalize your background using background themes, background music. So it has some cool fun features with it as well. So be on the lookout for that app.
Oh, that is so awesome. Great. Ladies, thank you once again for joining us. What we did today wasn't just conversation. It was remembrance. We didn't give women answers. We gave them permission to stop betraying what they already know. Faith, intuition, truth. But before we leave this throne room, I want to leave you with one truth, not to debate, not to explain, but to
Mhm.
sit with. Intuition and religion go hand in hand. One is how God speaks. The other is how we learn to listen. If that unsettled you, good. Truth often does it before it frees us. Because the question was never whether God was speaking. The question was whether you trusted the way the message arrived, through your body, through your knowing, through that quiet nudge you kept dismissing. Faith was never meant to disconnect you from yourself. It was meant to bring you back into alignment with truth, discernment, and courage. So if something stirred in you today, don't rush to silence it. Instead, honor the listening, because the voice you're waiting on has been speaking the whole time. This is the Empress Lioness Throne Room, and your knowing is welcome here. Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Karen Mitchell.